Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. In our previous video, we have discussed the events of respiratory cycle and the two types of breathing and the respiratory rates in different types of species. So in this video, we are going to discuss the transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So let's start with transport of oxygen. Diffusion is the movement of gases. This movement of gases occurs due to partial pressure gradient. The partial pressure is the pressure exerted by a given gas in a mixture. For example, if we consider oxygen, in a mixture of gases, pressure exerted by the oxygen is called as partial pressure of oxygen. The partial pressure of oxygen is denoted by PO2. In alveoli, the partial pressure of oxygen is 100 mm mercury, and in the blood reaching out to the alveoli, the partial pressure is 40 mm mercury. So this difference in the partial pressure causes the movement of oxygen from the alveoli into the blood vessel. So when the oxygen flows from alveoli into the blood vessel, the partial pressure increases and it increases to 85 to 100 mm of mercury. In the tissue level, the partial pressure of oxygen is 40 mm mercury. So this difference in the partial pressure between the blood vessel and the tissue causes the flow of oxygen from the blood into the tissues. Let's see how oxygen is transported in the blood. Consider the small circles as oxygen. When oxygen diffuses from the alveoli into the plasma, these oxygen dissolves in the plasma and most of them moves into the RBC and binds with the hemoglobin and gets transported. So the transport of oxygen can take place either along with hemoglobin or as physically dissolved state. The physically dissolved oxygen contributes at around 1.5% of total oxygen transport, and the remaining 98.5% oxygen is transported along with hemoglobin. At a pressure of 100 mm mercury, only 0.31 ml of oxygen can be transported with 100 ml of blood, which is very little in quantity. Next is the transport of oxygen with hemoglobin. The hemoglobin has 4 heme groups in it, and each heme group has one iron atom. The iron is in ferrous state, that is Fe2+ state. Each iron atom can bind with one oxygen molecule. So one molecule of hemoglobin can carry 4 molecules of oxygen with it. So when oxygen binds with the hemoglobin becomes bright red, and the oxygenated form of hemoglobin is referred as oxyhemoglobin. So transport of oxygen with hemoglobin, 1 gram of hemoglobin can transport 1.34 ml of oxygen, and we know that blood contains 15 gram of hemoglobin per deciliter, and oxygen saturation at 100 mm mercury is 97.5%. So the amount of oxygen that can be transported with hemoglobin is 1.34 into 15 into 97.5 divided by 100, which gives 19.6. So 100 ml of blood can transport 19.6 ml of oxygen along with hemoglobin. At 100 mm of mercury, in dissolved state, around 0.31 ml of oxygen can be transported by 100 ml of blood, and with hemoglobin 19.6 ml of oxygen can be transported with 100 ml of blood. So totally 19.9 ml of oxygen for 100 ml of blood. Next is transport of carbon dioxide. So the diffusion also takes place due to the partial pressure gradient of carbon dioxide, which is PCO2. At tissue level, the carbon dioxide has a partial pressure of around 45 mm mercury, and the blood vessel reaching the tissues has a partial pressure of 40 mm of mercury. So this differences causes the carbon dioxide to travel from tissue into the circulation. Once the carbon dioxide reaches the circulation, the partial pressure reaches 45 mm mercury, and At the alveoli, the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is 40 mm mercury. So this difference causes the movement of carbon dioxide from the blood vessel to the alveoli and to the expired air. Let's see how carbon dioxide is transported within the blood. Consider these small circles as carbon dioxide. So when carbon dioxide diffuses into the blood vessel, it dissolves in the plasma and some of them enters into the RBC. And those enter into the RBC, some of them binds with the hemoglobin. And those that are dissolved in the plasma and inside the RBC can get converted into bicarbonates. So these triangle shaped markings refers to bicarbonates. So the transport of carbon dioxide can occur either by physically dissolved carbon dioxide or along with hemoglobin or as bicarbonates. So the transport as bicarbonate can occur in either in plasma or in RBC. Only 5 to 7% of total carbon dioxide transported is transported in dissolved state, and 23% is transported along with hemoglobin, and the remaining 70% of carbon dioxide is transported as bicarbonates. Carbon dioxide is more soluble than oxygen. In oxygen, we saw that only 0.3 ml of oxygen is transported for 100 ml of blood. But in carbon dioxide, 4 ml of carbon dioxide can be transported for each 100 ml of blood. With hemoglobin has a amino group in it. So carbon dioxide can bind with amino group and form carbamino group. So this carbon dioxide attached hemoglobin is called as carbamino hemoglobin. Next is formation of bicarbonate. Bicarbonate can be formed either in plasma or in erythrocytes. In plasma, the carbon dioxide binds with the water and forms carbonic acid, which immediately dissociates into H plus ion and bicarbonate ion. This H plus ion is buffered by plasma proteins, and thus the carbon dioxide is transported as bicarbonate. In RBC, carbon dioxide binds with the water to produce carbonic acid, but this reaction occurs at a faster rate than compared to that of plasma because of the presence of carbonic anhydrase enzyme inside the RBC. So more amount of carbonic acid is produced inside the RBC, which then dissociates into bicarbonates and H plus ion. This H plus ion is buffered by hemoglobin. More amount of bicarbonates are produced inside the RBC, and then these bicarbonates start coming out from the RBC. And to maintain the electrical neutrality, the chloride ions from the plasma enters into the RBC. So this transfer of chloride ions for bicarbonate ions into the RBC, it's referred as Hamburger shift or chloride shift. So this bicarbonate is transported across the blood vessel, and once it reaches the lungs, these reactions will take in a reverse manner, and finally carbon dioxide is produced. This carbon dioxide can be expelled to the lungs.